Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. We will recite from Gauri Mahalla Panjava, Bani of the fifth Guru in Rag Gauri. And the Shabad is as follows. Simar 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 Sukh Paia, Charan Kamal Gur Hriday Basaya, Gur Gobind Par Brahm Pura, Tise a-sabad-a-day mera man tira rahao. Anadin japon Guru Gur Naam, Taate Siddh Bhaye Sagal Kaam. Darshan dekh Siital man bhaye, Janam janam ke kil vikh gaye. Kaho Nanak kahan pੈ ਭਾਈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਸੇਵਕ ਕੀ ਆਪ ਪੈਜ ਰਖਾਈ. ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਕਹਾਂ ਪੈ ਭਾਈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਸੇਵਕ ਕੀ ਆਪ ਪੈਜ ਰਖਾਈ. So we've noticed that in the adjacent passages that we have considered, the Guru has been contrasting the way of Gurmat with other methods, methodologies, and so on. And here he's emphasizing that path again, the path of remembrance and devotion, by saying, Simar 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 Sukh Paia, Charan Kamal Gur Hriday Basaya. I found the bliss of self-knowledge, Sukh Paia. How and when? When I instilled the lotus flower of Gur wisdom, Charan Kamal, in my heart, Hriday Basaya. How did I do that? Through constant remembrance of the discourse, sabad, of the Gur Enlightener. And that constant remembrance is here indicated by the alliterative Simar, Simar, Simar. This is a constant practice. You learn to do this. Just a word on the term Sukh, which appears quite frequently in Gurbani, although we usually tend to think of it as happiness or just sheer pleasure. But from a Gurbani perspective, it has a much deeper connotation and signifies the state of sahaj, spontaneous ease, the goal, which arises naturally with self-knowledge or naam. They go together. So Sukh is not ordinary pleasure or ordinary experience. It is actually the state of sahaj that we are all aspiring to, whether we know it or not. And in the Rahau, he clarifies by saying, Gur Gobind Par Brahm Pura, Tise a-sabad-a-day mera man tira. The Gur Enlightener is Gobind, the inner self, who is flawless. Indeed, it is the flawless, transcendent creator. And by adoringly following the Gur Enlightener, that is to say, to follow the teachings, the wisdom, my mind has become resolute because it is now embedded in this wisdom, or the wisdom is embedded in the self. Well, the wisdom is always there. It is just that we have become self-aware. So you see there is a continuum here that suggests itself. It stretches from Gur to Gobind to Par Brahm. So normally when the term Gur appears without the vowel sign Ankar, it denotes spiritual wisdom of the self, which itself is rooted within the Par Brahm, the universal mind, or Shabad Guru. And we will see that clarification in the following verse, where the Guru says, Anandin Japon, Guru, here's with the Dolankar, Guru Gur Naam, Tate Siddh, Bhay Sagal Kam, Anandin Japon. He's already said Simar Simar Simar. Here he's repeating that by saying Anandin, day and night, constant. So the question is, how does that happen? And that is the interesting thing about this path. Because most people confuse it with simar, with some audible recitation. It really isn't. It's that audible recitation should lead you into a state of complete self-awareness, perfected awareness, which is something that you live with 24/7. So he says, Andin Japo, Guru Guru Naam, day and night contemplate the Supreme Being, the Shabad Guru, through Guru wisdom. And by doing that, Tate, I have mastered Siddha Bhai, my desires, Sagal Kam. So the Guru here with that vowel sign is indicative of Par-Brahm. And in Gurbani, Par-Brahm is the Shabad Guru. It is also Hukam. And it is also Bani Guru. And it is the Ajuni of Ekko Ankar, also called Ekko Aap. So you see, there is this continuum, but it's conceptual. In reality, it is all, there is no such distinction. This is something for us to understand, that we are reflections, bimb, as Gurbani says, of the Supreme Being. And so we have that divine spark in us, which has to be lit through the wisdom within us, which is the self. And then we will begin to see that the self is actually rooted and sourced within Parabrahm. Because first will come integration of the mind and heart. A Puran Brahm will emerge from the ego consciousness. But that for another day. The point being, day and night, contemplate on the Supreme Being through Guru wisdom. Guru wisdom will begin to educate you, train your mind to think about the Supreme Being, because after all, the Supreme Being is not really perceptible, but it is conceivable. And that is what happens to the teachings of the Enlightener. Siddha Bhai Sagal Kam is an often mistranslated phrase. It's incorrectly translated, in my opinion, as all my jobs and desires were completed, or all my tasks have been completed. Now, this would lead you to believe, is Gurbani a talisman? Something that you use to actually have your wishes to be fulfilled? No, that is not what it is. Gurbani is teaching you how to master the self, how to master your haume, how to dissolve the haume, how to self-realize. So this is about self-mastery. Calm is desires. You have to master them in order to be able to make progress on this path. And see what happens. He tells us when you do this. Darsan dekh siital man bhai, janam janam ke kil vikh gaye. When I inculcated self-knowledge, Darsan refers to not only physical sight, but we are not talking about physical sight. The self is not physical. Darsan is teachings, philosophy. The point being, when I inculcated self-knowledge, janam janam ke kil vikh gaye, I was relieved of long-standing neurosis. Siital man bhai, my mind was soothed. So the question is, what is the neurosis? Well, the neurosis is the narcissistic mind. And indeed, there are two sides of the same ego haume consciousness. So you get released freedom from that bondage. And the Guru says, in conclusion, that Creator, that Supreme Being, is benevolent and compassionate because it preserves the honor, pad rakhai, of the servant. When it is said that the Guru Enlightener preserves the honor, it means that for those who have made an honest attempt, the Guru does not disappoint, that it will preserve the resolution that you have made. And then what happens? My brethren, proclaims Nanak, all my fears have vanished. Kaho Nanak, kahan pe? Pai kahan pe? Where have my fears gone? That is what happens. On that note, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.